No, no, please leave me alone.
No, you are mine. Not so fast, Magneto. Cyclops. Yes, it is me. I am here to save my girlfriend. Hi, honey. Now, you are going to die. Not so fast, bub. Wolverine, you're here to help. No, Scott. I'm here to save my girlfriend.
No, Logan, not like this.
What? Well, Tin Man. She is mine. Now, Jean, at last we are alone.
No, no, I hate you. I hate you. Leave me alone. Yet I find you strangely attractive.
Of course you do. Now kiss me.
No, yes, no, no, oh, your helmet, it's so big.
Lord Helmet, what? You need it on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
First off, go watch Spaceballs. Second, don't do that to real people. With that out of the way, let's get to the goods. I have the Marvel United Multiverse, or MOM for short. This is the Omniverse pledge. I did not get the extra quality of life stuff, mainly because it doesn't add anything for me. I already have the mat, and honestly, that's probably the best upgrade for quality of life. But there was no reason to get more mats. As you can see, a lot of stuff. Got this in 2 shipments, and it came out to like 32 pounds. Subtract about 5 pounds for packaging. But I have the War of Kings, Annihilation, Secret Invasion, X-Men Age of Apocalypse, Maximum Carnage, Civil War, World War Hulk, the stretch goals, the pet companions, the campaign decks, Fang Foom, the main box, and then the team decks that I have already packaged up. Let's get to what comes in the core box. Before we go on with the video, Marvel United is a weird modular board game system that relies on a bunch of expansions for extra content. You don't need to get stuff, and a lot of it is Kickstarter exclusives, but you will need a copy out of one of these 4 core boxes. I'll start with the original Marvel United, then we got the X-Men Marvel United, then the Spider-Geddon Marvel United, and then finally the Multiverse. There is another United system coming out called DC United, and it is compatible with all the United games. So that'll be really interesting, especially if you want to do some fan fiction. But they came out in this order: the original, the second, Spider-Geddon, and then Multiverse. I have no idea when this is going to come to retail. Probably soon, I imagine. But you can find this pretty much at any local game store. I believe you can find all 3 of these. It's just the Kickstarter exclusives and the expansion stuff that some are just pure Kickstarter exclusives. Not sure why CMON does it. I really hate it. But there's so many characters. There's so much stuff with it. I still haven't played through all of Marvel United's characters. And I have way too many and just not enough time to repeatedly play. But I have played every campaign at least once. And I do like the game. All right, in the core box, we have 6 new heroes or versions of heroes, 1 anti-hero, and 3 villains. For heroes, we have Captain Carter, Loki, Jane Foster Thor, Spider-Man 2099, Shuri Black Panther, and Ironheart. As our anti-hero, we have Cosmic Ghost Rider. And then our villains, we have Dr. or Emperor Doom, Immortus, and Maestro. For our locations, they have given us 8 brand new locations. 2 of them are kind of the same. Our 3 villain dashboards. Our villain slash anti-hero dashboard. Our little mission tracker thing that's pretty much the same for all of them. Surprisingly, this one actually doesn't say Multiverse on it. I think the X-Men one does. And all our punch board tokens that are the same in every core box, except this one has Doom tokens. And Rick Jones. I have no idea who Rick Jones is. We have our villain decks and their threats. Our player character decks, which there's 12 each of each character. There's usually 12 each of the villains decks for their master plans. And 6 threats usually. Some may be more, some may be less. But in this, I think they're all 6. We have our 3 generic missions that go on the mission tracker. They're pretty much always the same. I haven't noticed a difference in any of the printings. These are some of the stuff we sleeved when we were testing out the first game. Now, I believe during Spider-Geddon's when they first introduced equipment. And equipment's a little weird in this set, just because the way the Kickstarter says, some of the equipment is Kickstarter exclusive. But then I was reading the back of the box and it says that it comes with all the equipment cards. I don't really know what's what with the exclusives. But a nice option they added was these new Any Hero equipment cards. And to play with equipment, all you do is remove a double wild card from your deck before you start the game. So one of these cards. And you can have up to 3 equipment cards. I think there's only one character with 4 equipment cards, which is Hawkeye. And you have to discard one of the 4. So 3 is the max. But I believe from the retail version, you will get all these generic equipment pieces. I am pretty sure you're going to get the equipment that comes with the heroes in this box, because that wouldn't make any sense. And this is where the equipment kind of gets weird. I don't know what comes in what pack. The photo wasn't very clear. I know some of these are for exclusive characters only. I believe those won't be included, but they might include the equipment for the legacy characters like Iron Man, because he's in the original box. Captain America's shield, Magneto's helm, he'd be in there, Thor. So I think it's going to be a mix of what you get. But the equipment's really neat. I do like the generic equipment just because not every hero has equipment. We have new Battle Clan cards, which are just a modular thing to help you when you play solo. I suppose you could play the multiplayer, but that's on you if you want to.
Behold.
As always, we have some really good looking minis. Captain Carter here. Actually really good looking. Loki. I know some people aren't a fan of the chibi art style that they went with the cast, but I think they're done pretty well. Like, I do like the detail in the base with Jane here. Spider-Man 2099, I'm not so sure about the cape, but I didn't read a lot of his comics back in the day. Black Panther Shuri. Again, I like the detail on the base that they're doing now. Ironheart. I do find Cosmic Ghost Rider pretty hilarious. Just the oversized guns, but it kind of fits. Emperor Doom, who I think is the heaviest mini out of all of them. Not even sure what these little spikes are on the back of his cape. Immortus, rest in peace, King. But really cool detail right there with the little floating steps. And of course, Maestro. Dirty Hobo Santa Claus Warlord Hulk. I'm not sure how readable this is going to be on your screens, but we're going to get 2 copies of each generic piece of equipment, and then everything else is hero only. So we have the generic web shooters, but those specifically go to Spider-Man. Don't worry, they do have their own equipment in the Spider-Geddon box, specifically to characters also. This Magneto's helm is specific to non-hero Magneto, anti-hero Magneto's helm. It's a little weird. like Iron Man has the same abilities, but that one's only specific for Iron Man. Well, the Heartbuster Iron Man has the same cards with the same abilities. It's just kind of odd. And then some characters obviously have double, like Black Panther Shuri, Cosmic Ghost Rider. I believe Ant-Man and Wasp, they're pretty much the same. Star-Lord. But they're a fun little add-on. Not necessary for gameplay, and honestly, you're losing a turn to take them. But you can always play the way you want to play without following the rules. I'm not going to be the rules police. I could care less. You do you. If you are wondering why this is here, I am doing the 2024 giveaway, and this is one of the prizes that I have for the giveaway. If you like a chance to win this box, unopened, of the stretch goals for Marvel United X-Men, check out that link somewhere in the corner. But I also wanted to compare the size difference. The Multiverse box is roughly 1 inch taller than the X-Men box. There's a lot of stuff in here. We have tons of characters, and we have 2 fairly large characters, Stature and Double Dinosaur with Moongirl. Which you should check out that animated series on Disney if you haven't. It's actually pretty good. I am not sure how this is packaged if you just did the core box pledge, because the Wrecking Crew actually comes in this box. I'm not sure how they did it. But we have our whole component breakdown listing. The team deck rules. Null Dark Avenger rules. And some more stuff for the Wrecking Crew and yada yada yada. Not sure why they do this weird cardboard insert. But the Wrecking Crew was a Kickstarter exclusive. So if you're interested in them, I will show these off later. We have our tokens. Monster Isle, which is a Kickstarter exclusive location. So that'll be when I show all the Kickstarter specific stuff. I mean, this whole box is Kickstarter exclusives. But I know some people didn't get all of it, want to see what they missed out. We have a ridiculous amount of villain dashboards. And I do think the team up thing's kind of cool. So we have the Winter Guard, White Widow, U.S. Agent, Titania, Shocker, Red Hulk, Purple Man, which I really like this. That's actually really cool. Moonstone, Mole Man, pretty obscure. Maximus, Lizard, Null, really cool. Claw, Cabal, Hobgoblin, the High Evolutionary, Gore, Enchantress, Darkchild, Dark Avengers, Dakin, Crossbones, Crimson Dynamo, who really looks like the Shredder, Chameleon, Blastar, Absorbing Man, Abomination. It's a lot of villains, a lot of variety. That's why I say, if you don't get all the expansions with the stretch goal stuff, you have so much. Some of the neat stuff that they added was these team decks, and they have team compositions. I can see that these might be an issue for getting all the all-in stuff. If you have everything, then you shouldn't have a problem. One of the team decks, the non-promo team decks, looks like that's going to come to retail, and I believe those are specifically because they're related to everything that is retail available. I'm bringing this up because, like, we have SHIELD team members. To play this card, or the teams, you have to pick characters specifically listed on these cards. And depending on what you have, you might not be able to fill out a lot of rosters. Teams are playable, but you're not going to be able to play every character. And these team decks are really cool. Depending on how many cards are in the team deck, like this is 6, you're going to get this new deck that, as long as everyone is on your team is the same, these will be shuffled up and put in play, and you're going to flip over 2. Any player can play these cards as their action instead of playing a normal card from their hand. Or they can just skip it. The negative drawback to the team cards are you have these I would say obligations you have to do. Like Shield has political ties. As long as this card is face up in the team display, heroes can't choose a card from the team display other than this one. You have to play it. Once you play it, they'll tell you flip it down in the storyline, and it's out of play. They're kind of nice. They give you more options, but every team deck, from what I understand, does have this negative obligation that will affect your team play. And everything with the all-in, I believe, will work. But in the stretch goal box, you're going to get 8 team decks. Some new supervillain cards, and a ton of equipment, which I believe is mainly for what's in the box. For the first tray, we have Maximus, Crossbones, Thunderball, Piledriver, Wrecker, Bulldozer, and Claw. Then we have Shocker, Chameleon, High Evolutionary, Iron Patriot, Mole Man, Purple Man, Enchantress, Lizard, Hobgoblin, the Crimson Dynamo, Absorbing Man, Titania, Agent Venom, Abomination, Blast Star, Gore, and Null. And I have to say, I love the detail on Gore. This is what Christian Bale should have looked like, instead of the weird monk thing he's doing. And then, of course, Null. If you don't know who Null is, you're missing out. Agent Venom, who's kind of hilarious again with the oversized comically large guns. I do like Titania with the girder. She's just bending over her head. Next up, for tray 2, we have Red Guardian, White Widow, Ursa Major, Dark Star, Moonstone, Red Hulk, US Agent, Dark Child, Dakin, Megan, Chamber, M, Husk, Cypher, Captain Britain Betsy Braddock, which I just found out that's Psylocke's real name, Aurora, Captain America, Sam, the Wilson version, Deathlock, and Songbird. And I really do like the Songbird's wings. I love this purple color with the blue. It actually works really well. I also really like Ursa Major here just because it's a werebear. For our last trade, so this is Iron Lad. He came packed in a different little small box, and honestly, CMON needs to quit doing that. He was only available if you did the Herald Pledge or the Omniverse Pledge like I did. You might be able to find him separately. You're not really missing out much unless you're a big fan of Iron Lad. We have Wiccan, Speed, Patriot, Kid Loki, Black Knight, Saren, Werewolf by Night, Wong, Elsa Bloodstone, Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze, Man-Thing, Cyborg, Corsair, Hepzibah, Raza, Chode, Stature, which she is just ridiculously huge.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
My personal favorite, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Just look how adorable he is. Havoc, and Leandra, which I feel like is kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, but cool nonetheless. All right, for you guys excited about the Wrecking Crew, here they are. We got a special setup of place 4 villains on the villain starting location, place crowbar token, the same location as Wrecker. And the crowbar token is this cardboard crowbar. The 3-layer missions are not used for this game. If you do super villain mode, heroes start with a move, a heroic, and a punch. Special rules. When Wrecking Crew moves, the crowbar token goes with them. When the Wrecker moves, the crowbar token goes with them. When Wrecker is defeated, the crowbar stays in location and no longer moves. When a hero is KO'd, the villains don't activate their BAM. Instead, increase the loot track by 1. When all 6 threats have been cleared, the villains become under pressure and are vulnerable to damage. As you can see, their abilities, their BAMs, the overflow rules. Not super complicated, it's pretty much the same as all their multi-fight things. And it could be really interesting since the crowbar from Wrecker gives bonuses to the Wrecking Crew. This is their action deck. And it's basically going to have team synergies, like Wrecker's going to move 1. And then Thunderball's going to move 2. They both BAM and do their effects. Fairly organized, fairly straightforward. The crowbar enhances them. And some other shenanigans. As far as Monster Isle goes, spots for 2 henchmen. Henchmen enter and play this location as 2 extra health, and maybe go above starting value. That kind of sucks. End of turn, you may deal 1 damage to 1 henchman in any location. You may discard one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to deal an extra damage. It's kind of handy. For the last 3 items for this video, I'm going to do the Fang Foom, the Pet Companions, and the Campaign decks. There are the other 2 team decks, but I've already went through that. And again, I don't suggest you hunt them down unless you really want them. One of them is coming to retail. It's going to be the non-promo team decks. I just don't suggest going after them because if you don't have the stuff, it's just not worth it. They don't really add a lot. Let's get to the big guy. Fang Foom, the cartoon dragon, who is an alien. One of the weirdest characters I've seen in the Marvel Universe. But this is either a challenge or just a main villain mission expansion. It came with basically the Omniverse pledge or the Herald pledge. You gotta double check it came with the main pledge. If you can find him by himself and you really like it, he's very similar to how the boss a la carte system is for the Dark Souls board game. How much value you get out of that, that's up to you. He is packaged in a really weird way. He comes with a special location that is specific to playing with Fang Foom. And he has a really weird ability with his setup and how you actually deal with them. Here's the instructions, the dormant awake, the compatibility, which is kind of the issue. He doesn't add a lot. The mini itself is pretty cool. He is about the size of a Sentinel from the X-Men Sentinel box. And I do believe he is the first multi-piece mini in the game. I don't remember any other minis where you had to attach anything to. Let's go grab a Sentinel for comparison. Here we have Fang Foom. He's about 5 inches tall. Here's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Here's Stature. So about the same height. And then here's one of the Sentinel from the Days of Future Past expansion. And you can see how he's doing the Heisman here. And he's a little bit bigger. There's only one other figure bigger than Fang Foom. And that is Galactus, which I will show in another video. But off the bat, like I said, I do not recommend hunting down and paying premium prices for Fang Foom unless you're really a big fan of Fang Foom. Or you can get him for a good price. He only has 2 real threats. They're basically the same, but you get 3 copies of each. They're kind of annoying. He has 6 dormant and 6 awake cards, and his whole mechanic is if he runs out of dormant cards, he wins. There is a challenge mode that you can do with Fang Foom if you're interested in that. Not very readable, apparently. There we go. If you want to try to proxy him, be my guest. He uses a weird mechanic. And I don't think he's that valuable as far as game experience. But he is a very neat mini. I do like the way he looks. Just very cartoonish and goofy. But if you didn't get him, you're not missing out on much, and I wouldn't put too much into trying to get him. It's just a big mini. Here we have the pet companions. You get 6 pets, but you get 7 pet decks. And more on that. So we here have Alligator Loki. Jeff from Gwenpool. If you don't know who Jeff is, he's just a hungry little shark puppy. Goose, the good old cat. Redwing, this is Falcon's pet bird. Cosmo, the best girl. And Throg. There is no Lockheed figure in the pet companions. Lockheed specifically came with the X-Men United stretch goals. Every pet's going to get their little reference card thing that explains the rules and how they work. And basically, they're just an extra set of 3 cards in your deck. The main difference is that they're triggered off pets. So during setup, choose 1 companion, shuffle 3 companion cards into your hero deck, place the companion piece in your hero starting location, and then for all intents and purposes, your companion cards are considered one of your hero cards. Once during each of your turns, you may move your companion to a location adjacent to them for free. Companions are not considered heroes for game effects. They can't take any damage. However, if there's a companion in your location, you're not alone. If you're removed from game, remove your companion. Do I think they're worth hunting down? Yes, no. Because they do break up consistency in your deck. Because if you think about it, you're adding 3 more cards to your deck. Which the villain, you're trying to, stop them from doing their master plan. If they run out of cards, they're going to win. So there is some slowdown. There are some synergies, but they're kind of iffy when they trigger. Because you don't know if the villain's going to move to a spot where your pet's going to be. It adds some neat design choices, but I don't think it's good. Like, if you wanted a lot more moves, I guess. Obviously, these guys are adding 2 moves and a punch. I wouldn't recommend their animal ability, companion ability, being super useful. Alligator Loki's is 2 moves and a wild. Cosmos is consistent. Goose is pretty consistent. Redwing is all maneuver. And Throg is pretty much all maneuver. It can add stuff to fix some shortcomings of your deck, but I just don't think it's very helpful. It's a nice add-on, but it's not worth getting unless you can get it at a good price. And if you're missing out on them, it's not a big deal. I'm pretty sure you can find the cards to proxy. Here we have the campaign decks. I really like the idea of the campaign decks, but there is a major caveat, and probably why this is an exclusive. If you don't own everything to Marvel United, I do not recommend even bothering trying. The campaign decks are very, very broad with what they require. This is a requirement of every expansion you need to run these campaigns. I don't think a single one of them is doable with the retail stuff. And to hunt down everything you need to do them, it's very costly. They do offer a lot of neat story mode stuff. Like if you're a big fan of the Age of Ultron, you can actually run the Age of Ultron campaign, which is really cool. Depending on the scenario, it can go up to X amount of games, and they have triggers and setups. So one side, it'll say, like, game 1, the end of the world, that's the mission. And it'll tell you who you're fighting and your roster. Those are the people you're allowed to use for that mission. And you flip it over, and it tells you basically your objectives and goals. So this will tell you setup stuff, and then if you lose, you're going to reveal a bit. If you win at a certain trigger, you're going to reveal event 2. And if you just win without getting the trigger, you're just going to go to game 2, which would just go onto that card. But each one of these events is a branch in the storyline. And yeah, spoilers. But they add a lot of choices that kind of are objectives to go for. It's a really fun idea if you know the lore for the story. I like it. I wish that they could do a campaign without all the exclusive stuff, because it kind of feels bad if you want to do this. But Ultron is the shortest, while Age of Apocalypse goes up to 6. And you can see the event numbers, how many different things change. And we get 8 campaigns out of it. It's really cool, but it also, like I said, sucks if you don't own everything. And if you're a big fan of the comics and you want to do the stories, yeah, it's great. But I also feel like it's kind of punishing people that didn't get the all-in or couldn't do the Kickstarter. But the Age of Ultron, the Age of Apocalypse, Avengers vs. X-Men, War of Kings, the Dark Phoenix Saga, World War Hulk, Executioner's Song, and Maximum Carnage. Kind of wish they just included these with some of the expansions. It's a luxury. And again, it's a neat concept, but it also kind of sucks and feels bad because if you didn't back everything, you're not going to get them. I do not recommend finding these on the secondary market unless you have everything. But if you have everything, you should have these. I also don't recommend if you even have half the stuff for doing it, because a lot of it's just 1 or 2 things out of the expansions. So your value isn't very good on return. I do plan on running one of these campaigns and doing a playthrough of it. Let me know in the comments which one you're really interested in doing, and I'll try to get that one out. I will be unboxing the other expansions later down along the line. Last up, we have the promo hero deck, or promo team deck, and the regular team deck. I believe this deck is the regular team deck, and this is the promo team deck. I could be wrong, because the X-Men, you can get core box. Team decks, really neat. I already went through the mechanics earlier. But even if you manage to get the regular team decks, not all the cards are going to be, or I should rephrase that, not all the characters are available without getting some of the promo stuff. Like the Avengers team, Black Knight's a stretch goal, but you can run most of them without getting the exclusives. The only thing that I know in the team deck is the Heroes United or United Heroes team composition. You can play with anyone. I don't recommend getting it if you don't have a lot of the stuff. Again, cool concept, but poorly executed. Especially with how deep you have to go to catch them all. Like I said, I will be unveiling the other expansions, probably 2 at a time. So let me know what you're interested in seeing next. The Coming at Galactus is a very thick box. Galactus is huge. World War Hulk, really popular storyline. Civil War, another popular storyline. Maximum Carnage, I know a lot of people are really interested, especially with the exclusive specific to this. I'll show all of that off when I get to it. Age of Apocalypse, one of my favorite storylines. Secret Invasion, Annihilation, which I actually don't know Annihilation story, or the War of Kings. But let me know what you want to see me unbox next, and I will get very detailed with the Kickstarter exclusives, especially if you missed out. 3 of these will be available for retail. Maximum Carnage, minus the new Sinister Six mode. Civil War, missing, I think, some characters. And World War Hulk, also missing some exclusive characters. Other than that, if you like what I do, please consider subscribing to the channel. Greatly help me out. If there's anything you want to see specifically, let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to show you exactly what you're looking for. Other than that, take care, and GG's.